I'm about to speak on the truth that is very tough for some people to handle. Can you handle it? Let's find out. A lot of things that happen to us in life, we feel like people are out there trying to hold us back. People are stopping us from doing things. They're making us feel things. People are bothering you, making you angry. They're frustrating you. All of these things. They're playing games with you. The truth of the matter is, nobody's doing all of that stuff to you more than you are doing it to yourself. That person that is holding you back the most is you. Now, a lot of people don't want to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that. It doesn't make you feel good. It's the type of thing you don't want to listen to. But if you continue listening and accept that, it could be very life-changing for you, especially if you never heard it before. Certain messages, it pays to hear more than once. So if you heard this before somewhere else or something similar to it, that's not a cue. That's not your signal to go ahead and turn it off. Maybe that means you need to hear it again. Because we forget sometimes. While we're not in control of what other people do to us, we are in control of how we react to it, how we process it. And even if initially we do react in a negative way, it is still up to us to make sense out of things. It's up to us to put things into proper perspective as it pertains to our life, our personal journal, our personal journey. It's interesting I said journal because journaling is actually a huge part of what we can do to help maintain and help get past some of these setbacks. Journaling is a way that we can kind of process it, write things down, see it on paper, and have that self-to-self conversation so that we can understand that the majority of the battles that we're fighting it within. And if we don't verbalize it in some form, if we don't see it in word form, if we don't really, like I said, process everything, it just becomes a big mixed up mess. And then what we do is we outsource all of our pain. We outsource all of the sources and all of the triggers, right? We say, oh, that's the reason why I can't get ahead. That person over there is the reason why I feel the way I feel. But sometimes we just like to choose a face. We want to choose a designated person to give the blame because we don't want to really put it where it belongs with ourselves. And that's hard for everybody because the last thing we want to know in this world where it's so many different things, so many obstacles and all of these responsibilities and so much frustration, the last thing you need is to feel like there's one more thing you got to do. You got always some loose ends, some work you have to do with yourself, but that's the very thing that we must do, because doing that will begin to kind of help us deal with all of the other things. Say, for instance, you go out in traffic. You go out in the day, there's a whole lot of traffic. It's congested. Cars are beeping at you. You're trying to get to work. You're running late. Who do you think is going to have a better experience in a situation like that? The person who's riding around with a whole bunch of unresolved issues going on within themselves already, and the traffic adds on to it, or the person who went out into that situation before they went out to that situation? They've taken time to self-reflect. They did some meditation. They've been given thanks and praise for their existence. They've given thanks and praise for the struggles because they know the struggles strengthen them, right? They know that through the pain they become battle tested, right? So they found a reason. They see the reason in all of these things happen. They see how those things aren't there to necessarily stop them, but to help them and make them better, right? Who's going to do better in that situation? I think we all know the answer. So while it seems tough, while it seems like one more chore we have to do, this whole working on ourselves, putting the proper perspective, recognizing that we are in control of how we view these issues. We are in control of how we are affected by these situations. While it may seem like more work in the beginning, and it is, in the long run, it's going to help us be able to deal with a whole lot of other things. You can go in an environment, you can be in you ever been inside of you can go in a convenience store, right? You know, a retail store, and it could be really packed, a whole lot of, chaos going on. There's, people, shopping carts full, and lines are backed up to the back of the store. And just watch some of the people working there. You'll notice that some people working there, some of the, the cashiers, their faces are all bent out of shape. They look like they're overwhelmed. They're stressed. And then you look at another one, and that person seems like they're just going with the flow. They're still smiling. They're doing things as quickly as possible, but they're not overexerting themselves. Those are two different mindsets. Now, of course, you will have to talk to them both to know exactly what's going on in their lives, why they're like that. But what that does show you is that they're both in the same situation, yet they both seem to be affected by it differently. Something's going on in there. Like I said, no matter exactly what the situation is, it's a clear sign that something's going on differently within those two different people, because they're both in the same crazy store, right? And that goes to show you that there is a way, even in the midst of chaos, even in the midst of things going on outside of your control. The ultimate control that you have within will help you get through it. And not only get through it, you'll flow through it, right? Going with the flow. You will possibly even enjoy the process. Because ultimately, you're going to get to a point where you can enjoy the process. They say it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And the most important journey that we can take is that journey within. Right? So yeah, once again, this can be liberating for a lot of people, and it may, like I said, be triggering and frustrating for a lot of people. But those who want long-lasting results, those who really want to see some positive change, will accept it and embrace it as a call to work on the one individual that they have the control over, to change the one individual that they actually have power over, that they can actually change. Because it's a waste of time if we going out of our way trying to change other people and change circumstances, because all we're going to do is get frustrated, right? And even if you do seem like you have some sort of success in changing something outside of yourself or other people, how many people do you think appreciate you trying to change them? And don't you think it's only a matter of time before you see the other side of that? Either they'll be resentful for you trying to change them, or the fact that you succeeded in changing them once they realize it happened and what you think's going to happen. You will eventually get that resistance, and possibly even more than you was getting in the first place. So instead of us trying to change people and change circumstances, once we change ourselves, we look within, understand why we are involved with people that we may be feeling that way about in the first place, right? While we in that situation in the first place, once we change self and reflect on ourselves, perhaps, more than likely, you'll find that you won't even be involved with such people, right? You won't even be in those situations. And that's ultimately what you're striving for, right? Ultimately, you want to get to the point where you don't even have to be in that predicament. You may find yourself in situations like that less and less. Of course, the way life happens, you're always going to find yourself at some point in a situation that's frustrating. You're going to have to deal with people that you may deem difficult, right? But after you've done this work on yourself, you'll find yourself getting through it. You'll have a better understanding. Because a lot of people want to try to understand other people and change other people, and you barely understand yourself. So once you understand the chaos within you, if you understand your mechanism, you'll be able to recognize that in some of the people that you're dealing with. And even that right there alone is going to help you handle these situations and these people a lot better. So yeah, I say again, if you find yourself getting frustrated, people getting on your nerves, you're getting overwhelmed with all these circumstances and things taking place outside your life, you feel like you're being held back because somebody's stopping you, somebody's in your way. Just consider the thought that possibly nobody is doing that to you more than you're doing it to yourself. By holding on to the anger that you felt in reaction to something they did, by holding on to the shame that somebody said caused you to generate within yourself, right? People say, oh, they shamed me, they made me angry, they did this to me. They cannot do that without your help. They need you for that. Hey, if you want to go back to, like, you want to get spiritual or religious with it, they say, hey, something like that come your way, you're supposed to rebuke it immediately, right? How often do you rebuke it? How often do you deny it? How often do you say, I'm not accepting that? And you don't have to say it out loud. Someone shame you, that's something internal right away. You recognize it at the door. Oh, they're trying to shame me, right? Or what they're saying is they're trying to put some sort of a form of shame on me, right? You can say within yourself, I'm not accepting that. Oh no. And have something to counter that. And it's not for you to say to them. Sometimes you will say it out loud. But even if you don't say it out loud, you say it within to yourself. I'm not accepting that. No. And you tell yourself, you reinforce yourself something from the opposite of why you shouldn't be ashamed or why you're not ashamed of that, right? Someone trying to make you angry. Oh, they're trying to upset me. You don't have to say, you're trying to upset me. No, you can say that within yourself. What is the opposite of that? Oh no, I'm having a great day. I'm not letting nothing get me angry. Oh no, I don't want to feel angry right now. I'm not going there. And you can think of something, even in the midst of that, something that makes you happy. Grab onto it. Have it ready. Because somebody's going to try to make you angry. You know it's coming. So perhaps you can, just like you go to work, you pack a lunch or something like that, you pack whatever that is that's going to counter what you may face out there. Just try, instead of stewing over and focusing on these people who are making you feel this way, who are doing this to you. Recognize that you can't be mad at them, too mad at them. You're doing it to yourself all the time. And once you decide to stop doing it to yourself by holding on to it, whatever it may be, replaying these messages, replaying the words that you heard, replaying the situations, when you decide to stop doing that, especially if you're not doing that in order to kind of analyze it and understand what happened, just stewing over it, you're doing that to yourself. So take the time to do all of that, some of that self-discovery. Take the time to look within and understand why you're holding on to it, why you're choosing to do this to yourself. And you decide whether or not you want to continue. And if you decide you're tired of it, you're tired of doing that to yourself, start to reverse it. Start with yourself, and you'll watch how situations begin to change. Give it a try and see. Peace.